6:54 back on Breakfast Television, and joining us on the BT couch is our good friend Phillippe Gohier from L'Actualité. Good morning.
Good morning, you.
Of course, we'll be talking elections. We are going to talk about the federal government this morning because so far it's looking like we're heading into a third referendum, and I think people want to know where Ottawa is standing on this. Are they preparing anything towards the possibility of a third referendum here in Quebec?
Well, I mean, the Conservatives have rightfully and judiciously decided to stay out of the campaign. I mean, there's no good that can come of Stephen Harper and the Conservatives interfering in anything happening as far as the election campaign is concerned. But that doesn't mean he's doing nothing at all. We do know that Harper met with Tom Mulcair and Justin Trudeau separately to discuss the situation in Quebec to kind of get a lay of the land, because this is not a part where Stephen Harper's network is sort of naturally resourced. So there's that going on, and also when he came through in the summer, we know that he met with a few prominent Quebec Liberals and Quebec Federalists here to also get a lay of the land and figure out essentially where things are heading in that direction. So there's nothing going on, which is very much unlike '95, where Chrétien
totally hands off.
Had explicitly ordered that no contingency plans be made in the case of a yes vote, to the extent that the finance department was worried about being able to still borrow money and pay its bills afterwards, if the bond market had collapsed after separation.
Well, yeah, we got to talk about this latest development. Pauline Marois saying that ideally, if there's separation, they'll be able to use the Canadian currency. She wants a seat at the Bank of Canada. That for some people is like getting a divorce and still getting privileges. So I mean, what do you make of all this? Is that even, first of all, is that even feasible? Has the Canadian government even
well,
said,
I mean, it's
we
certainly,
consider this a possibility?
Well, I mean, it's certainly possible that Quebec would continue to use the Canadian dollar the same way their Latin American countries. Ecuador uses the U.S. dollar, for example. And I mean, but without that, it's a sort of monetary union, but not a fiscal union, right? I mean, the governing of the U.S. currency is not done to help Panama or to help Ecuador.
No.
The same way, without a seat at the Bank of Canada, the governing of the Canadian currency wouldn't be done to help Quebec.
That's what I mean. Is it even feasible that she would get a seat at the Bank of Canada? Or I mean, are we just talking in possibilities?
Extremely unlikely.
Yes. Okay.
That Canada would agree to give Quebec, an independent Quebec, a seat at the Bank of Canada.
We've got to also talk about this very quickly, because the last time around, I remember studying this in my constitutional law classes. The actual question written in 1995 was not, do you want to separate from Canada? We've been talking a lot about the referendum in Scotland, where the question would be super straightforward: do you want to separate or not? What is the likelihood, Phil Gohier, of us getting a straightforward question: do you want to separate from Canada,
with
or are we getting another
no answer?
Are we getting another encyclopedia?
It's very likely that it'll be yes or no answer.
The yes or no answer, yes, but it's
question.
the question.
Right. The question, however, no. I mean, I'd say there's a long tradition now of convoluted questions.
No pun intended. Long tradition, yes.
Of convoluted questions. So I mean, this is not the Parti Québécois has always been. It's always dealt in a sort of level of obfuscation as far as the consequences of independence. The Bank of Canada example is probably a good one on that front. So I wouldn't expect that. That doesn't mean there isn't pressure for them to write a clear question. About this time last year, Tom Mulcair had proposed a unity bill in the House of Commons that would have set out one of two questions, which essentially boiled down to: do you want to separate from Canada, or do you want an independent Quebec? Were essentially the two kind of formulations. So I mean, there is pressure to have a clear question, but I would be very shocked. It
would be nice.
Hey, I'm going to ask you a question, Phil Gohier, a very simple one. Would you come back again?
Of course.
So that's a yes?
Yes,
okay,
that's a yes.
That was a clear question and a clear answer. All right, we've run out of time, Phil Gohier. But it's always a pleasure, and we will be having you back on the BT Couch very, very soon.
Thank you very much. Always
Next
pleasure.
week, I'm sure we're going to take a short break right here on Breakfast Television. We'll be right back on City.
When it gets cold outside, I got